Bam, Leute, und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, in der Episode 5, Rise from the Ashes. Und wir sind in unserem zweiten Court-Tag. Und letztes Mal hatten wir eine sehr lange Investigation-Folge, wo wir ein paar Hinweise gefunden haben. Soweit ich weiß, noch nichts Konkretes. Wir haben den Evidence Room gesehen, wo der Mord scheinbar stattfand beim Police Department. Wir haben ein paar Blutspuren gefunden, Fingerabdrücke, die zu Officer Marshall gehören. Wir haben... Ja, was haben wir sonst noch so? Wir haben ein Beweisstück eines noch älteren Falls. Ein Schraubenzieher war das, der noch keine Connection hat zum jetzigen Fall. Edgeworth war auch im Beweisraum, was weiß ich, was wir alles noch gefunden haben. Alles so kleine Hinweise, die aber noch nicht wirklich was zum Ganzen beitragen, irgendwie habe ich das Gefühl. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret. I'm as much in the dark as about this as they are. Miss Guy. We found trace of evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. Wahrscheinlich Marshall meint er, ne? They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Bloodstained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? You have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Guy? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Klingt so, als ob Phoenix nicht überzeugt ist, dass Marshall überhaupt was damit zu tun hat, aber wie er richtig gesagt hat, das ist, glaube ich, unser größtes Indiz im Moment, unser größtes Beweisstück. Ein blutiger Fingerabdruck. Mal gucken. Edgeworth ist auch da. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. And the prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as a prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now, that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. That's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well. Let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh boy. Things are getting... Huch. Das ging automatisch weg. Ich habe das nicht weggedrückt. Ich bin unschuldig. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to... Sir, I'm what you call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. Okay. You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Da kenne ich noch eine. Crime report, sir. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. Übrigens, ich habe gerade vorhin noch den Kommentar gelesen, den jemand geschrieben hat. Laut Meekins hat er ja gesagt, er ist ohnmächtig, bis er im Detention Center dann wieder aufgewacht ist, was natürlich nicht sein kann, daher in der Zwischenzeit ja Edgeworth noch den Report gebracht hat und was sonst noch alles. Also, das war ein bisschen falsch, die Aussage, die er da bei uns im Detention Center gegeben hat. Ich glaube auch kaum, dass er so lange ohnmächtig war. Das wäre ein bisschen, ja, schon fast lebensgefährlich, würde ich meinen. Naja. So, the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto to others before they do unto to you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside down the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. Ja, da war irgendwie nicht so was Offensichtliches dabei, wenn ich mich jetzt recht erinnere. It's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room. Ja, warum denn? Das ist doch vielleicht mal was. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. Ja, das tolle Teil. Wo ich immer noch nicht weiß, warum wir das in unserer Court Record haben. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transfer process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. Wow. Krass. Yeah, I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Spotted a suspicious man on the security screen. Und du hast nicht gesehen, wie er erst reingegangen ist, oder wie? Was ist denn das für eine Logik? In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. Ah ja. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? Ja, das wollte ich auch noch fragen. There it is! I found it! This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir, it's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh. But the number... ja? is shown as being used twice. Ach, das ist er. Okay, warte mal. Dann müssen wir uns erstmal angucken. Also Miles Edgeworth kam 20 vor 5 rein und musste für Gant diesen Schraubenzieher abholen. Wenn ich das richtig im Kopf habe, ne? 10 Minuten später kam Meekins rein. Ah, wahrscheinlich um den Blue Badger da rein, das Maskottchen da reinzustellen. Dann um 5:14 kam Bruce Goodman und er kam dann direkt hinterher, ne? Okay, ja, macht Sinn, macht Sinn. Please explain, witness. It's not really mystery, sir. First time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Okay. Data added to ID card record. Okay, soweit macht das eigentlich Sinn, ne? I was only doing what I was... habe ich ja schon vorgelesen. I was trained to do so. I was suddenly attacked. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife. Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. Also er ist auf ihn draufgesprungen. Okay. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. Achso, nee. Habe ich gerade falsch vorgelesen. In dem Fall. I swung my arms like an octopus struggling to detain him. Okay, aber er hat ihn also schon angerempelt. Okay. That's how I got his gash on my hand. Okay. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. Oh, okay. Also es gab einen richtigen Fight, okay. Then I did it. You did what? What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? You know I don't look like the type, but I'm really into Kung Fu films, sir. Okay. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. See. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir. After that I passed out. Aber also er hat dich noch gepuncht? Und du wurdest bewusstlos. Also normalerweise, wenn man jemanden umbringt, hat er nicht die Kraft, noch jemanden bewusstlos zu schlagen. Würde ich jetzt meinen. Von daher, ich glaube nicht, dass hier irgendwie jemand umgebracht wurde. Zumindest nicht von Meekins. Oh, hups, ich wollte eigentlich, Moment. Stopp, halt. Ich wollte es eigentlich noch hier. So. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. Hit me right into the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. Gott sei Dank ist er in Sicherheit. Der Blue Badger.
I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? Ich bin immer noch nicht davon überzeugt, dass überhaupt jemanden ermordet hat. He's got a point.
Yes, Officer Meekins?
With regards to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Kent delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it?
What is that? A videotape?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. Warum schickt er das ihm? Und nicht, zu Ashworth? What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased.
That's quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever.
Well then, let's have a look. Shows the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? Okay, let's go. Da ist er. Ja. Das ist 5:14 Uhr, ne? Eigentlich dann, wenn die beiden reinkommen, ne? Da ist Goodman. Man sieht die Gesichter nicht. Das ist natürlich sehr unvorteilhaft. Die Fahne genau vorm Gesicht ist. Genau. Okay, also er geht an den Schrank. Irgendwas ist rausgefallen, habe ich gesehen. Da ist Meekins. Ja. Okay. Das sah nicht wie ein Disarming-Manöver aus. Das sah aus, als ob Goodman Meekins erstecht. Und da liegt er. Und Goodman ist nicht da. Er ist verschwunden. Hä? Also, wie auch immer man von dem Video darauf schließen soll, dass Meekins Goodman umgebracht hat, es sieht eher andersrum aus, aber okay. Oh, Achtung ist nicht happy.
Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can you deal with these unsettled feelings? Start within us.
What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's a Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Okay, wir haben das Security Video. Video from the security camera placed in the evidence room.
Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place.
Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage. Gut, Edgeworth ist wenigstens professionell. The witness testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir. As you wish, sir.
Okay. Also Edgeworth meint auch, das ist eine Drecksaufnahme, die eigentlich nichts beweist. His face can be clearly seen in the video. But there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do so. Ah, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint. Okay. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
Was this about fingerprint?
Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to.
Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. Okay, haben wir denn eine? Mystery Man. Face can't be clearly seen in this video. That's correct. Tell me were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter. The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not?
More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you?
Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see? Ah. Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Sir, I'm sure it was him. I bet my badge on it. Okay, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it.
Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it.
Why is everyone looking at me? I had to label our stares as disturbing or... Meekins. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claimed the man who brandished a knife at you on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. Okay, also er hat uns ja auch gesagt, er kennt Goodman nicht. Also er kennt auch sein Gesicht nicht. Also selbst wenn er sein Gesicht sehen würde, würde ihm wahrscheinlich nichts sagen. Das heißt, darauf können wir eigentlich nicht weiter rumreiten. He opened the locker. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. Okay. They only respond to register fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried.
If the man opened the locker's lock which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to.
Exactly my point, sir. And this too. The locker he opened is Detective Goodman's locker. How do you know that information? I've heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. For the record, the opened locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source.
So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint.
So it must be him. No one else. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir.
Please do. After all, you are the one being examined.
I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can't testify enough to this, sir.
Yes, you have a point. Footage doesn't lie.
That is. Unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Is there a problem with the security video? Let's check. Security Video. Das können wir checken. Also, wir können das Video angucken. Ja, können wir das irgendwie spulen oder? Nee, ne? Schade. Nichts Verdächtiges hier. Ist immer noch am Dancen. Er ist beim Locker. Er macht's auf und da fällt der Handschuh raus, genau. Das ist so das einzig Verdächtige, ne? Im Moment. Und da ist er tot. Okay, ich glaube, das können wir gucken noch einmal kurz, wie Mikins da liegt. Hier haben wir nichts mehr, ne? Ne. Okay, wir gehen mal back. Ich sage einfach mal, das ist a problem. Sure. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange.
Strange?
This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. Aber wie?
What? This video contains such a contradiction?
Very interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal.
Yes, Mr. Ashworth.
I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. You would want me to point it out.
Very well, proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence.
Ja, muss ich ja so oder so? Was ist denn das für ein Vorschlag? Muss ich ja sowieso.
I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of.
I have to point out a problem in the video. It's the first time I've ever had to do that.
You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so we can fast forward, rewind or pause the video.
Ach, nice.
Just take a good look at it and be sure to point out the right thing.
Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer?
Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman?
Also ich mache einfach mal hier den Handschuh, ne? Weil das ist das einzig Verdächtige. Moment. Pause ist B. Ah ja. Okay. Und dann können wir jetzt fast forward. Also ich muss gedrückt halten. So, jetzt, ne? Stopp! Kann ich das jetzt mit X, ne? Hier. Take that. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this.
Yes, that is strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about that. What could it mean?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What you are looking for is one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Okay, das war falsch.
I almost walked right into the defense's trap.
I'll place him under arrest, sir. Rats, I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. What do I do? Play again. Irgendwas muss ja hier sein, ne? Let's try this again. Just remember one thing, Mr. Wright. Every time you point your finger, someone gets hurt.
Says the one pointing his finger at us. I'll now play the security tape.
Ja, ja, bla bla bla. Show us. Okay, hä. Das ist aber das Einzige, was mir aufgefallen ist. Etwas, das beweist, dass er nicht Detective Goodman ist. Kann ich nochmal Rewind? Okay. Ich möchte gerade was gucken, weil mir ist gerade was anderes aufgefallen. Wir gucken, ob das stimmt. Ja, okay. Okay. Und zwar, wir sehen hier, das Lämpchen ist an. Das bedeutet, der Locker ist schon aufgeschlossen. Er ist gar nicht verschlossen. Das heißt, man braucht gar keine Fingerprints, um ihn zu öffnen, da er schon offen ist. Okay, ich glaube, das könnte das sein. Present. Thing that's strange about the video is this. Officer Meekins. Ah, das sieht richtig aus. Nice. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab a handle, a sensor reads a fingerprint. If it's a match, beep, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Bam, bam, bam. Nicht gerade die beste Musik. So, ja, es ist nämlich schon an. Wir müssen nicht das ganze Video sehen, Phoenix. Es ist okay, wir haben das Licht schon gesehen. Ich meine, hier beweist es nichts mehr, weil hier hat er ihn ja schon geöffnet, sozusagen. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker. Let's rewind to a little earlier. Das hättest du auch vorhin schon sagen können. Come on, Phoenix. Oh, er ist am Moonwalken. Krasser Typ. Here, notice the light?
What's this? It's already lit.
Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Cock!
Order! Order! What's the meaning of this?
It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered. And the locker is automatically locked.
Oh, I know. It must have been broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert on this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
Oh, well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation?
Me, Your Honor?
Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked?
Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator?
Maybe something like jam the system's sensor?
Something jammed the sensor. Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Das ist der Handschuh. Der war scheinbar am Sensor und somit wurde es nicht elektronisch verschlossen, weil der Sensor blockiert wurde irgendwie durch diesen Handschuh. Okay.
Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well. Let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point...
Okay. Ja, okay, komm. Ich kann die Musik nicht mehr hören. So, jetzt. Und schwupps. Booyah! Jetzt aber. Please watch closely. This is a continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Oh, wenigstens keine Mucke. Dankeschön. Ja, da kommt er, aber das Video haben wir mittlerweile auch schon gesehen. Die Szene. So, flop.
What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. They often fall out and roll great distances. Okay. We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, I'd say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
Really? Kannst du uns nicht einfach das Standbild direkt zeigen, anstatt das Video die ganze Zeit von vorne abzuspielen? Und dann auch noch ohne Fast Forward? Hui! This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes. Okay.
But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door.
Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. There would need to be an insulator. Ja, gut, dass es ein Gummihandschuh ist, der hauchdünn ist.
Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene.
There just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator you don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. Ja, so schwer ist es jetzt auch nicht. Man hat es ja auch gesehen im Video, was es ist.
Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door?
Der Handschuh. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure that was the victim's locker.
It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp assents to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so, sir. Order, order, order! So, are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Wurde ja auch nicht gestabbt. Do not be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Mr. Ashworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated that the possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this.
What?
Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Oh, of course, sir. Is that a joke? Very well, begin your testimony.
Mr. Man 2.
There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there is a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
Ja, aber ich sag mal so, das ist was anderes als ein Fingerprint-Sensor. Das ist die ID-Karte ist ein Objekt und das kann jeder verwenden, wenn er die Karte hat. Also man muss einfach nur Bruce Goodmans ID-Card haben und dann kann man rein. Easy peasy.
An ID card record, I see.
I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. Ja, er kam rein. Seine ID-Card kam rein. Nicht unbedingt Bruce Goodman. Aber definitiv seine ID-Card wurde verwendet. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim.
Just before the crime, yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transfer. Why were there so few people using this room?
This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff.
Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end.
Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transfer there, and most were cleared up by noon.
Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination.
Okay. Es gab ja noch einen, der reinkam, ne? Noch eine Nummer viel früher. Okay. There's one other thing. Yeah, that's okay. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. Is that card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards?
Yes, sir. That's this card right next to my cuff, sir.
I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you? Exactly. Keeping it out like in the open like that.
Maybe I should wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well,
The remaining time, it's my ID card I get stuck. Great. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can assent to this.
Please proceed with your testimony.
There's a record of it, yeah. Let it be noted that this is the record of the witness referred to.
Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here.
So it is, Your Honor.
Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide evidence.
Mommy, is that...
Don't stare at him.
Got the wrong color, kid.
It would seem. The inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or the consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, it must be so difficult for him.
Okay. Detective had used his ID card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Richtig, das gibt's ja auch noch. Wenn es seine ID-Card wäre, dann würde ich sie einfach zeigen und fertig. Das macht ja sonst keinen Sinn. Übrigens, diese Szene kam im Video gar nicht vor, aber Wayne, who cares? Also muss es ja eigentlich jemand anderes sein. Auf der ID-Card ist ja auch das Foto, ne? Wahrscheinlich hat er es deswegen nicht gezeigt, weil auf dem Foto wird man dann erkennen, dass es nicht er ist. Also definitiv ist es nicht Detective Goodman hier im Evidence Room. 100%. He pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir, he didn't show me an ID card, sir.
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Yeah.
Maybe he just panicked.
Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Wright, what do you think?
I'm confused.
What?
The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got.
Aber ich weiß nicht, wie wir es beweisen. Ich meine, wie Phoenix gesagt hat, eigentlich ist es offensichtlich, aber ich muss hier irgendwas präsentieren. Aber was soll ich denn da präsentieren? Das ist einfach nur ein logischer Gedankengang. Was haben wir denn? Gucken wir mal alles durch. Also ID. Huch. Muss ich die vielleicht irgendwo pressen? Aber das macht eigentlich keinen Sinn. Knife. Parking Stop. Nö. Blue Badger. Der war da, aber hat eigentlich nichts damit zu tun. Lana's Cellphone. Parking of Floor Plans. Das ist eh die alte Crime Scene, hat nichts mit dem zu tun. ID Card Record. Ach ja, was ist auch eine strange Nummer hier. 77777777. Also die erste. War noch 20 Minuten vor Edgeworth. Fingerprinting Set. Können wir Fingerprints an der ID-Card vielleicht? Nee, ja, der hat wahrscheinlich Handschuhe an, glaube ich. Meinte ich mich zu erinnern. Screwdriver. Nee. Lost Item Report. Okay. Lost Item Report. Maybe Lost ID Card? Maybe. Name Bruce Goodman, ID. Und er konnte die ID nicht aufschreiben, weil er seine ID-Card nicht hat. Also er wusste sie nicht auswendig. Okay, vielleicht ist das... Ich gucke mal weiter. Evidence from Floor Plans. Ja, okay. Rubber Glove. Marshall Fingerprints. Die müssen ja auch noch ins Spiel kommen, irgendwie. Okay, one must use their ID card. Das ist richtig. An ID card is used as a record. Das ist richtig. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Ich glaube, das müssen wir contradicten, weil das ist ja das, was falsch ist eigentlich. Er hat nicht seine Card benutzt, sondern die von Goodman. Ich probier's mal. Goodman's last item report. Yes! Take that! Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not gonna waiting, sir. Ich muss mein Headset kurz. Meine Haare aus dem Weg. Und mein Mikrofon neu richten. Boom. So. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
Last item report. It's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean?
It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response?
I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Wir verteidigen gerade Officer Meekins und gar nicht Lana. Oops. Yes, what's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explanation for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So
the real crime could only take place at one location, The underground parking lot. Ja, genau das, was ich gesagt habe. Wir haben jetzt eigentlich nur Mikens verteidigt und Lana weiterhin verdächtigt. At the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Miss Lana's guy, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! Well, shit. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. Ja, wir müssen ja trotzdem die Wahrheit rausfinden.
The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? Where did this person disappear to?
However, es kann ja aber nicht nur komplett unnötig sein, diese Fake-Mord-Szene. Es muss ja trotzdem irgendeine Connection haben. Wäre sonst irgendwie weird. Warum sollte dann jemand überhaupt da eingebrochen sein? Mit einer gestohlenen ID-Card. Nicht kratzen. Geil. So. Muss ja irgendein Ziel gehabt haben, dass er da eingebrochen ist. Wer auch immer das war.
However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana...
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Ja, object! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing, and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Und wir sehen auch nicht, wie der Typ flieht. Der ist einfach verschwunden. Der müsste ja on tape sein. Oder sich exakt hinter dem Blue Badger versteckt, bis die Kamera sich gedreht hat und dann ist er rausgegangen. Und vor allem, das kann er ja nicht planen. Es war ja eine Variable, dass der Blue Badger da drin war. However, it cannot be said that this is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
This court were to examine this further. All the witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Ach, meine Haare. Sind im Weg. Geht weg. Ah. Sorry. meine Haare, die sind wild. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Ach, callen wir jetzt einen Witness?
Mr. Wright, do you mean...
Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness.
Oh? Whom do you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify. What is his or her name?
Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him?
I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet.
He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. Prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We should need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witnesses
Subponate. What the fuck ist das für ein Wort?
Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
We will, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
Kriegen wir jetzt eine Pause? Okay. Defendant lobby number 2.
There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What do you mean?
You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out.
I haven't figured anything out.
Lana, you're the one who knows everything.
Emma.
You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you.
I don't recall ever asking for his protection. Yes, you did.
How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it?
Got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. On top of it, off you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey. Hey, 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 hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor's guy.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
Oh, whoa. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name?
Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
The SL9 incident?
But Lana, that's...
I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
Can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case.
This guy was a witness? Okay, SL9 incident files. Files for the Joe Dark killings. Solved 2 years ago. Joe Dark. Okay. Okay.
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're gonna just ignore me?
Emma? But why? Why is your name in here?
What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that...
That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings.
The Joe Dark? No, Lana! That's over with, no!
Emma, wait! She ran away.
You know what? I just remembered, I gotta be somewhere. Sorry pal, but I'm out of here.
Plötzlich haut jeder ab. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. To be continued. Okay, haben wir wieder einen Zweiteiler beim Gerichtstag. Wir haben heute die Unschuld von Officer Meekins bezeugt. damit Lana ein bisschen mehr schuldiger gemacht. Aber jetzt haben wir nun es auf Jake Marshall abgesehen und Lana scheint doch so ein bisschen auf unserer Seite zu sein, denn sie hat ja uns die Akten gebracht oder zukommen lassen. Die müssen wir auf jeden Fall noch lesen, darf ich nicht vergessen, das im nächsten Part dann vorher noch durchzulesen. Ja, und dann gucken wir mal, wie weit wir kommen mit Officer Marshall. Huch, da fällt mein Controller herunter. Mit Officer Marshall im Zeugenstand. Ja, bleibt gespannt. Wir sehen uns beim nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, macht's gut, Leute. Und tschö.